Hey, Lata, you can take it away. I'll just continue to let people in as they arrive.
Okay. My name is Lata Jobanputra from sunny Southern California, and it is my pleasure to welcome you all to this special event for the FIAPSI family. Today, we have three distinguished speakers representing three countries that top the foreign bias in the US. We have Kunal Sheth for India, Linda Lee for China, and Sefi Tomar for Canada. But before we start, I would like to request Evan, our incoming president, to say a few words.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Lata. Now, I especially want to thank the programming committee. Lata is obviously a member of the programming committee, but thank you for all the excellent webinars and other programming that they've created for us during their term over these past several months. Some of it has, well, all of it has been excellent, but some of it has really gotten my attention. It's just really been world-class programming. So thank you so much for all the hard work that goes into that, Lata. You know, if I may, what I really would like to do is just take just a moment to really promote our upcoming spring symposium that's going to be held in Toronto. I'm sure all of you have seen the notification through the newsletter and whatnot. Allison has been sending out emails regarding the spring symposium, but it's really going to be something special. So Allison, is it possible to share? I could share my screen. I just wanted to
Yes, go ahead. And I'm going to drop the registration link in the chat for everybody. I was just pulling it up.
Good, good. So that's actually just what I wanted to show. Just go to the FIAPSI USA website and just show everyone where they can find the page to register for the event. But just to briefly go through some of the highlights, I guess first and foremost, why did we decide to hold it in Toronto? It's the FIAPSI USA Spring Symposium, but it's going to be held in Canada. The idea was we really wanted to strengthen the relationship that we have with FIAPSI Canada and create additional networking and business opportunities between our two different chapters. So that was really sort of the impetus for holding it in Toronto. In addition to that, just preceding our spring symposium, there's going to be a huge convention in Toronto called Realtor Quest. And it's anticipated that some 10,000 realtors will be in Canada, in Toronto at that time, attending that event. And the day after that event ends, we hold our spring symposium. So we're really hoping that there's going to be a lot of crossover there, and a lot of people will be attending both events. And plus, you know, we just wanted to very much enjoy the hospitality of FIAPSI Canada. And we certainly thank them for allowing us to have our event there. But am I able to share the screen, Allison?
Yes, go ahead. You should be able to.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Here we go. Okay, so here it is. So if you go to the FIAPSI USA website, go to events, and then click on Spring Symposium right here. It will take you to this page. And just to go over some of the highlights, we're holding the event at the Sheraton Centre Hotel in downtown Toronto. Everything starts on Friday. We're going to have a welcome reception. It's being sponsored, co-sponsored by Global Property Pros and the Canadian Real Estate Association, also known as CREA. I'm really excited about the property tour. If you haven't read this yet, it's really impressive. The project is called The Well, and it was developed by a Canadian company called Tridel. And Winston Chan, who's going to be hosting the event, is a FIAPSI Canada member. So he's a longtime employee at Tridel, their vice president of sales. But this is really an impressive project. Just the number of high-tech features included in this project is just almost unbelievable. Just the extent that they went to just to they're very much at the forefront of incorporating all kinds of high-tech amenities into the project. But perhaps most impressively, there's essentially, it's called a cistern, which is essentially an underground reservoir immediately underneath this project. It's a 7-acre project. Underneath, there's an underground reservoir that's connected to a deep lake water cooling system that is extremely energy efficient. So even though this is one of the largest mixed-use projects in Canada, it's actually using a lot less energy than other properties of comparable size. So, I think we're really going to take a lot away, learn quite a lot on that tour. And then that happens Saturday morning. Saturday afternoon, we're going to have 3 very insightful and engaging presentations from these 3 gentlemen here. All 3 of them are Canadian. So the first 2, Richard Silver, he's going to be giving a presentation on the use of AI in the real estate industry, specifically for real estate brokers, or agents and brokers. John D. Michel is going to be talking about an area of expertise, his area of expertise, which is very much sort of the changing MLS, how technology is expanding the use and making it more efficient, the use of MLS. And then we actually have a professor from the University of Toronto, Professor Matti Saimitaki, I believe is how you pronounce his name. But he's going to be giving a presentation on the impacts that the COVID-19 pandemic had on our downtown regions or downtown districts, neighborhoods throughout large cities in North America, and how we might, how they might come back. What is the future of our downtowns in our bigger cities? All of that followed by the installation dinner. And we're going to end up the evening with something we haven't done before. Basically, we're going to have a sort of extend on the networking opportunities by having a dessert reception with a jazz trio in the background, providing some musical entertainment. So all in all, it's just going to be a fantastic event. So by all means, everyone, please make plans to attend, and we look forward to seeing you there. And with that, Lata, thank you for allowing me to have these few minutes to briefly talk about the Spring Symposium.
Thank you so much, Evan. It sounds so exciting. Toronto seems nice, Sefi. Okay. We will start with Sefi. Our speaker is from, obviously, Canada, as you can figure out, and we'll talk about Canada and Canadian buyers from Canada. He is a broker with RE/MAX Premier, based in Ontario, Canada, CIPS, RENA, EBRO, and he is also Secretary General of FIAPSI Canada, Realtor member of FIAPSI, CREA, ORIA, TRREB, CTRA, NAR, of course. He was the 78th most successful realtor in world by RE/MAX in 2018. 2021 most successful international realtor by Protocol magazine published in Turkey. Boy, 2022 Queen's Jubilee Award by Canadian Parliament, and 2023 Community Service Award by RE/MAX Premier, and also the co-chair of Strides for Mackenzie. A lot of accomplishments, Sefi. Thank you.
Thank you. Our job is all about community involvement. When it comes to real estate, it's about caring for the community. That's where you get it back. When the new realtors, they start, that's what I tell them. It's not door knocking, it's not cold calling. It's earning people's trust. So when it comes to Canada, Canada is very unique compared to all other countries. We have 150,000 members under CREA, which is affiliated to NAR, and we have 77,000 of them from Toronto Regional Real Estate Board. What our situation is different than other countries. It's very multicultural country. Under Toronto Real Estate Board, there is no language or there is no nationality, you cannot find it. That's why when it's come to international buyers, inbound and outbound, it's always easier to connect, refer somebody in their mother tongue if their mother tongue is not English or French whatsoever. So that's an advantage for Canada. When it's come to real estate, it's important how it works in Canada or how it works wherever we go. Say like if it's in India or China or USA, that part is very important. So a realtor has to understand that for a new immigrant, navigating the Canadian real estate market can feel daunting, especially if it differs significantly from their home country, which will be, because I have an office in Turkey as well, under Remax 18, and I get lots of clients, Germany, Switzerland, and UK. So day to day, I have to explain them how it's different in Canada than different in Turkey, which is North America is an organized real estate when rest of the world is unorganized. And our regulations, our real estate is strictly regulated under provincial legislations. That's why slightly different from each province. So in Toronto, Real Estate Council of Ontario regulates us, and also our clients are protected by the Consumers Protection Act. So when the buyers come from other countries, we have to explain to them how it works. We have to give them the trust and comfort. Their rights are protected under province and federal laws. That's why educating a potential immigrant client is the key to developing a trusting working relationship. We have to be their best friend and literally hold their hand through every stage of the process because they're coming to another country. So I usually do two-step meeting. First one, I meet with them to know each other, explain who I am, why they have to trust me. And at the same time, I have to see what their needs are, what I can do for them. And then the second meeting will be all about how it works, because real estate is not about showing. Maybe in Turkey or some countries in Europe, real estate is more about showing. You send somebody to show the property. But here in Canada, it's not about showing. It's more about knowing the taxation, knowing the legal rights. We have to work with the credible accountant to show taxation process in Canada, or each province is different. And also we work with real estate lawyer and immigration lawyer, because that part of the transaction of real estate is very important. If somebody's coming from another country, we cannot give them a legal opinion, but we have to have a good team of lawyers. Real estate aspect is different than their immigration aspect. As you know, Canada, there's so many people, so many buyers, speculators, investors. They're eager to buy in Canada. And Canadian Parliament last year, they banned for residential buyers in metropolitan areas. Not everywhere. Commercial, they can buy it. Anything over 6 units, they can buy it. And most of the recreational areas and small towns, they're still allowed to buy it, because there was we have the highest population growth in the world, among G20 countries. So the Canadian Parliament restricted buyers because of the speculation on the real estate, and also the restricted population growth. Lately, we put some restriction on international students as well, because we were getting 900,000 international students and 500,000 immigrants every year, which is over 1.4 million for a small country like 40 million. So in order to stabilize the real estate market, those kind of restrictions came in effect, but still our market is very strong. Even through the pandemic, our market didn't get as affected as many other countries in Europe. We have 4 major markets when it comes to Canada, which is Toronto, Montreal, Vancouver, and Calgary. And Vancouver and Toronto, very similar market. Montreal and Calgary, it changes time to time, fluctuates, depends on their economy. Because Vancouver and Toronto, because it's very diverse and big population metropolitan area, it absorbs any change, global changes. It doesn't get affected as much as Calgary or other smaller towns. While commissions are included in the purchase price compared to most other countries in the world, so while many of the cost of buying are within the transaction, they have to be aware of the closing cost and how mortgage functions. Because here, in say like, because I compare always to Turkey and other Europe, because I get involved. Over there, buyers, they pay their own commission, and the sellers, they pay on the commission. Even though we just get a settlement with NAR and CREA might follow, still, in practically right now, the commissions are within the purchase price. So that part we have to explain how it works. And the mortgage are more restricted than probably USA, because our banking system is asking for total income, lend to value income, and then also all the Equifax reports of last 2 years of Real Revenue Canada notice of assessments. Those are all requirements to be able to get the mortgage. If somebody wants to buy in Canada, we have to go through this. And then usually, as a real estate agent, we just give the hint, but we don't give the details. We don't get involved. We walk them to the real estate broker, the mortgage broker. We get mortgage broker to go through the details, how it works, if they are qualified for mortgage or how much they are qualified for the mortgage. So I mentioned in the beginning, it's all about working with the right people, all about connecting with the right people. It's very important. In most parts of Canada, real estate regulations that require documented contractual buyer-agent relationship, but it's not normal in most countries. So if you have a buyer, you have to have a buyer's representation agreement signed, even though it's slightly different from each province, but each province regulated that. So this way you get the confidence of buyer working with the buyer, and buyer get the same thing. It's exclusivity that you're going to show, you're going to put your effort, and you're going to be paid at the end of the term when they buy the property. And sorry about that. And I'm just going through it, few notes. I don't want to miss anything. It's generally accepted in Canada that dealing directly with the listing agent or the seller of a property can cause conflicts that need to be outlined when dealing with any prospective clients. It's not permitted in British Columbia, in Vancouver side, for example, for closely monitored in other jurisdictions. So even though there's other countries, buyers and sellers, they see each other. Here, usually the buyer agent and the seller agent, they communicate. After the pandemic, it become more through emails. Before it was more phone calls, more realtors seeing each other. And it's more intensified between realtors negotiation than buyer and seller. They're totally separate, and each goes to their own real estate lawyer. Any transaction over $75,000 in Canada has to be represented by 2 separate law firms, because it creates a conflict. It's not notary public. Quebec, they use notary public, one of the province, but specifically in Ontario, I can say all of them or most of them, we do through the real estate lawyers to finalize, go through the land registry and register the property. We don't have the Canadian government, they dissolved the land registry office because they assign all those jobs to lawyers. So the law firm itself, they register the transaction, the purchase, and they remove it. They or modify it. The lawyers has that extreme responsibility, and they are regulated by Upper Law Society. And also, I want to mention, to know the client, I want to mention also CIPS is a very great course, and I think international buyers, the realtors that they deal with international buyers, they have to take CIPS course. That's how I started. That's where I met Aziz Kenji, our president, and also FIAPC America's president. And he's a great instructor. And realtors having CIPS course will give you more inside and outs from the different countries, comparing the other countries to Canada or China or India. That's very important. Under NAR and FIAPC and CREA, there are so many great instructors. I encourage the realtors who wants to do international real estate transaction to get CIPS to be their first education part. And thank you very much for inviting me. Consumers are protected under provincial real estate laws and also consumers protection law in Canada. There's no doubt about it. There's so many regulations here. And if anybody wants to reach out to us, they can go reach out through FIAPC Canada. And we have many nations, it's a very diverse chapter. We have many nations within the FIAPC Canada. We work closely with FIAPC USA. Then there are so many Canadians, they invest in Florida and California. And even in that aspect, I appreciate FIAPC USA deciding to do their AGM in Toronto. I think that will help connect lots of people, create lots of network from Toronto Real Estate Board to get some potential buyers, potential realtors to connect to their members. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Saifi. Lot of information to digest. I hope everybody is taking notes. Our next speaker is from San Diego, California, but has extensive experience with Chinese buyers coming into US to buy property. Linda Lee. With over 21 years as a top producer in real estate and a San Diegan for over 40 years, Linda is your #1 global and local real estate connection. Linda is in Keller Williams, Gary Keller's top 100 individual agents. Her professional productivity is due to a tenacious, energetic, and passionate approach to her work. An excellent real estate service based on heart and experience. She is known for her high level of professionalism and integrity and giving back to the community. Linda Lee has served as National Association of Realtors Global Ambassador, who is fluent in Chinese. Global travel is Linda's passion and has visited over 120 plus countries. Oh my God, how did you find time to do that? Sugar, her doggy son, is the boss in the house. Oh, that's so cute, Linda.
Thank you, Lata, for the beautiful introduction, and thank you, everyone. It's my first time speaking for the FIAPSI organization. I truly appreciate the opportunity. Just one minor correction. I've been in real estate over 21 years, being a resident in San Diego over 40. I have not yet been in real estate for 40 years, but definitely looking forward to it. I'd like to speak to you with the 4 questions that you have asked me to address about working with Chinese buyers. And I'm speaking from the perspective of practitioner, as I myself every day is on the field helping them, not just Chinese, but, clients in general to purchase property or sell property in San Diego. On the buying side, I have for the first point is any helpful hints to dealing with these buyers. Really, I think doesn't matter if they're US, they're Canadian, they're Turkey, they are Indian. I think the professional care will be the same. The difference will be some cultural preferences. Our first point I want to bring up to everyone is, I know it's kind of touched upon earlier, is NAR settlement about the buyer broker commission. I think that it's under, Keller Williams just have an open house yesterday having this discussion. And since it will still take about 4 months for all the detail to be revealed, I know there are so many talks on the internet now, maybe not be accurate, but I believe I will encourage also when you work with Chinese client to have the buyer broker agreement signed right away going forward. Because some of them might have the habit of working with multiple buyer's agent. So we are a for-profit organization, not non-for-profit. So you definitely should get the buyer broker agreement signed, especially in light of what's happening in the real estate industry in the US right now. So you need to explain to them how that process is. You represent them because they might have multiple agents show them properties. So get that out of the way. If they don't want to sign, then you need to you have to decide if this is something you will want to work with, especially in this environment. Very quickly, of course, you will respect the culture of the Chinese culture, and then even Chinese culture. There are so many different version. You have people from Hong Kong, people from Taiwan, even people from China, different region what might be different. And you also Singaporean, you could have different parts of Asia that are Chinese, they have the Chinese roots. You want to find out very quickly who's the decision maker of the group. You might be dealing with the daughter, but actually the father make all the calls. The purchase could be under the son's name, but you need to find out who the decision maker very quickly and find out why they are buying. The number 1 question come up very quickly is the money part. As many of you know that the Chinese government, and it's been years now, this is nothing new, $50,000 limit US to wire out. Of course, obviously, many of them, they have different ways or method to send that money. I want to alert everyone as a realtor, our job is not to figure out how they can send money. Just because you hear someone using the channel this way, that way, you need to be very, very careful that not to advise client on how to get money to the US, how to purchase, how to, change, of course, they will come to you, ask you, are there any property that they can buy using renminbi? So basically they pay you in China and then they bought a house here. You need to be very, very careful with advising anything like that. You should ask your broker about the company policy of what's the best way to answer that question. This is a really, really hot area, and I want to alert everyone because you definitely don't want to send your client to a potential person who can exchange money for them, and then they never get the fund, and then you are the one to blame because you are the one make the connection. So be very, very careful. They need to sort out how they are going to send the money to the US to buy money. And then also ask them, why are they buying? A lot of time, I know this question is asked again later. A lot of times school district, if their kids is, before college, and then, or they're coming to US. And I think that would be very common no matter where they purchase. And normally it's about their next generation and also about they diversify their portfolio. And I think Chinese clients, probably, I think everybody, since you have FIABC, that you have experience, they will tell you, I want to buy a home, under $1 million US. And really, they might end up buying 3 million. So that's part of deepen that relationship, get a better understanding of the motivation and get a better understanding of really how much funds they have available that can truly, is already in the US, they can buy. Of course, you can introduce them to lenders that can make a loan for them, because I think foreign national loan are more common now that you can introduce, but not money exchange. Also, like I said, respect the cultural difference and clear communication. And ask them, a lot of Chinese buyers, they're on WeChat, many of you probably familiar with that, WeChat. They are not on Facebook. They are not on, if they are still in China, they probably couldn't get onto a lot of sites here now because of Great China Firewall. So you need to be able to communicate with them with WeChat. And then since our WeChat most likely will be for North America, not account from China. So you will have some limitation, but at least you could communicate with the buyers through WeChat, but be very careful on WeChat. Don't talk about politics, because don't comment about anything like that, because your account can be shut down. And then you couldn't communicate with your clients. So be very careful. It's very different. Here in the US, you can talk about anything on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. Nobody gonna shut your account down. WeChat, they will. Trust me, they will. And also, I think relationship, and I think that every culture is the same. You got to earn that trust, and then you earn their business, and then you continue to deepen that relationship. Sometimes a client might come, they might not really purchase right away, but you stay in communication with them, and that way, the business. And again, that's just any client, not just Chinese client. But I think always be truthful. It's never any transactions, never just because they commission. It's always like what's the best for them, and coming from contributions. So that's no different for Chinese buyer versus any buyer. And then the negotiation strategy, I think that we need to, I'm pretty sure other culture too. Of course, when we're buying, we want to get the best deal, but explain to them, like I give them this whole package, and then I'm pretty sure in your market probably have that too. I use First American's home buying package, whole thing in Chinese, the home buying process, the escrow, about the wire fraud, and how to hold title in Chinese. And I walk over that with them. I give, husband, wife, sometimes give them 2 packages so they can study it in their own time, and how to hold title. I mean, it's California. I mean, I'm talking about California real estate now. It's so important how to hold that title. A perfect example, I have a client, and they have the wisdom, the way they end up holding titles, mother buying for the daughter, and they hold title together. And mother actually passed away like 2 years ago, mid-50s. And because the way they hold title, they don't even have to go through that whole process. The daughter can basically, with the gift certificate, the death certificate, and then basically get the title to her much easier than going through that whole probate process. So it's very important to provide them the information as early as possible, and so they have the understanding of how the real estate transaction work in your state. I know you mentioned about Toronto or different parts of Canada. I'm in San Diego, I'm in California. So I explained to them how the California real estate transaction take place. And also even in California, Northern California is different than Southern California. So I even communicate that, so always be give your clients as much information as possible, as early as possible, so they have a better understanding, so they don't feel, I mean, of course, they're gonna feel confused, right? But, just help them with that process, give them things in writing, give them things to read. Of course, we use video a lot nowadays too, and use that as well. The second question is, why are they looking, what are they looking for? The typical, again, I mentioned that earlier, a lot of time is because they want to move here, or the kids want to go to high school here, junior high, or the kids are coming to university, they want to buy a home there. And more now, some of them want to retire they want to retire in San Diego, and maybe they are only 40s, they want to buy a retirement home. So, you just ask them why and what's important to them. And then at the same time, they will be like, hey, I'm buying a retirement home. The school district is not important. But as you know, a lot of time, the good school district is in a good neighborhood, and vice versa. So even though they might not need a school district, but that's still the probably one of the best community for them to as an option to consider. Again, the current price trend in the U.S. homes had gone up, and while the Chinese real estate market, it just went down. So a lot of my clients that I'm working with now, they're like, gosh, when I come here 2016, 2017, we're like, we don't want to buy home here. You appreciate so slow that I'd rather buy in China, appreciate so fast. And now they are telling me, they might have 150 listing of brokerage, and they only close one deal that month. And so it's very different now, and they're like, oh my God, I couldn't believe, I literally have clients, I help them to purchase in 2020 for 3.2 million US. Now that home's worth over 6 million. And so they are like, oh my gosh, everything seems double, and the US dollar is stronger and the Chinese renminbi is weaker. So, it's a lot of shock to them, but you just do the best to educate them and to help them with that. And a lot of time, if it's for school, it's for education, they'll be willing to, they are prepared, but we just do our part to educate our client as well. Some client might they want bigger land, they want to grow their vegetable and fruits, some want ocean view, but again, all different requirements come with a different price point, and depends on what type of property they want to purchase. They just be very well informed. So as they ask, you are ready, like, okay, if you want to buy in La Jolla, this is the price. If you want Rancho Santa Fe, this is the starting point. You want Carmel Valley, the best school district, this is but the starting point, a $2 million home will get you. So just, I think that it's good to give them the information from possible. I would under promise over delivery, because I cannot deliver a 1.5 million single detached home for them in Carmel Valley. It's just not going to happen. 2 million, yes, but 2 million, like for example, one of my clients, we just entered escrow last Friday for $2,050,000. It's for 2,100 square feet home. Actually, really close to the freeway. It's on a kind of golf minimum executive golf course view, and they are from China, and actually living in Vancouver now. They're coming to US, and they're like, oh, we are thinking we'll come to US, we'll buy a big mansion. Now the 2 million, it's only buying us kind of like a tract home. But it is what it is. And, I always encourage them, this is your first home in San Diego, 2, 3, a couple of years down the road, when you're actually moving here, then we can buy up, and you can buy a bigger home. But this is just starting point. So when your kids want to come here for school, for junior high, high school, you already have a home, you already have an address. Yeah, you can register them. So that's, and your number 3 questions, any other information I feel would be helpful. Again, communication timely, explain to them the process from the start. And very important, especially right now in this US real estate market environment, the buyer broker agreement, I will have that signed from the start. If they don't want to sign, I got too many people call me seeking my expertise and then buy from a discount broker. So if they don't want to sign, I'm not interested. I don't, I'm not a charity. So I think everybody would decide where your business model is, what is your service level, and how much value proposition you have to decide the service you are going to deliver. And then again, a lot of time because they're not in San Diego, they're not in the city. How do we meet? We meet via Zoom. And some of them might not be very comfortable using Zoom, or they might have very difficult time actually access Zoom. So you want to find out, or maybe you just use WeChat video capability. You have to talk to your client and see what they, if they can get on Zoom. If they can't, then have that figured out. You don't want to be at the point of the meeting and you are in Zoom waiting for them and they couldn't hop on. Also, again, another thing, like especially for California or Southern California, termite is so common. I don't know if that's the case everywhere in the US or in Canada. So we educate, because in China, everything is concrete, steel, they don't have termite. And in their mind, oh my God, the termite, that the whole house is gonna crumble. That's not the case. You just do fumigation, you do the wood repair. So you need to tell them that, let them know, hey, from the start, termite is very common. I mean, that's for Southern California. So I always do that because I'm like, they're so worried. I mean, people have cancer, want to cancel as soon as there's termite in the house. I say termite is probably like every home. It's just a matter of time. So, educate your client about termite, and that's kind of a local thing. And also very importantly for all the realtors, and a lot of questions like, how do you find your buyers? How do you find them? Well, number one, I think network, like events like this, or go to ARIA, NAR, I mean, for me, it's now Keller Williams. Go to the real estate event with the intent to network, right? And an intent to provide value. Like now I'm like, oh, wow, I have a Toronto contact. Oh, wow, I didn't know this is, or different things to me, a lot of Canadian. That's fantastic because I don't know who I send people to in Toronto. I really don't know. I know I have inbound client from Toronto. So I think go to those events and make sure you stay connected. And what I do is after the event, if I have the business card, I send in a thank you card or send in some value information. And then, a lot of people will ask, like, hey, what do I send to the agents, right? I mean, yeah, everybody send I would love your referral. That's like, you provide information. How do you make them smarter? How can you help them make them more money? And how can they be more efficient with their time or with the business? So maybe something like you pack in your car, and I normally have our marketing department print for me with that information and then send it to them. Like, hey, this is what I learned from this biopsy, workshop, like Lata and the leadership put together, and then share those thoughts. I'm gonna share like, hey, this is NAR settlement. The details still been working out, but this is what we know now. Share that with them so they find it helpful and they remember you. For example, like networking, and then once you go to another event, maybe host the networking. I'll give you a perfect example. February 25th, Keller Williams family reunion. I organized a dinner. And I'm going to organize that dinner, like a dinner for our family reunion and for our mega agent camp. So I have, I think I end up having about 113 agents at that networking dinner. And actually before the dinner even happened, I already sent out 3 referrals. I sent a buyer's referral to Seattle. I sent a listing referral to Nevada, to Las Vegas, and I sent a buyer referral to Silicon Valley. And actually, the referral check of $15,000 on the way over to me, so I might get it today. So and then there's so much networking happening in the room. Even after I got 2 more referrals. So it's so worth a while. You have to stay connected. And I think very importantly, it's not just about business. It's how can I help you as a fellow realtor? How can I help you to get more business? I mean, we are all in this together, even though we are not in the same market. What information I have learned, I think is helpful for you. And then, another perfect example. This is what I did on WeChat. I mean, the Chinese client. For the Chinese New Year Eve, this is what I did. And I learned this thing. On WeChat, you can use broadcast way. So instead of, communicating, 1483 contact in my WeChat, I record a broadcast message to the Chinese client and said, hey, happy Chinese New Year, or I say in Chinese, happy Chinese New Year, haven't seen you for a while, wish you the best year ever. If you do come to San Diego, let me know. So boom, that whole message got sent out. Guess what? I got listing. I had no idea, like some of the people I don't even remember. and they bought it not through me, and they're like, oh, I want to list this property. And that was just, that was pretty simple. And same thing as like, how can you, besides going to networking, look at your own phone. Like I have an iPhone, right? And so, I mean, I look at my iPhone and how many contacts I have, because that's your data bank. Yes, that's your database, that's your data bank. And what I also did in January is I look at, used to have over 11,000, contact in my phone. I narrow it down, seriously. I don't even remember 2,000 people, let alone, 11. So I narrow it down, and there are some people I know, they are realtors or they are not. And I send out contact. I send a message to them, text message, some I call and some I email. And just really, because real estate is a contact sport, you got to show up, and the best is face to face. So, how do you get business? Ask your current client, ask them for the referral, go to events, make sure you make purposeful networking, not just go there to drink. So, I hope I have provided you, answer all the questions. Oh, I want to give a few key points about, because when they are buyer, they're going to turn into seller, right? So I'm going to give you 5 key points when you work with the seller. I know this is more the buyer. Number 1, you want to find out if they have tax ID to sell any property in the US. They have to have tax ID. Number 2, tell them to talk to the tax advisor, because if they bought in recent year, they had quite a bit of appreciation. So because we don't really know the legal status here in the US or where else they have legal status, so they had to talk to a tax advisor about what's the best to deal with the tax situation. And are they selling primary residence, or are they selling the investment properties? And you also want to double check, are they the true owner of that property? That been properly sold without the true owner. So be very, very careful, and just be cautious, be cautious and have lots of fun. I so appreciate this opportunity. I hope I didn't speak, I probably did overspend my time. I apologize, but I hope you find it helpful, and anything I can do to help you in San Diego, please do let me know. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Linda. Thank you. Lot of information. And our last but not least speaker is Kunal from Houston, Texas. Kunal is a real estate agent and a co-founder of the Seth Brothers, a Houston, Texas team that has accumulated over 1 billion in closed transactions since its inception in 2014. The explosive growth the Seth Brothers team is a result of Kunal and his brother-in-law Sonit focusing heavily on their team members' individual success. Kunal is actively recruiting, training, and developing the realtors on his team so each of them can transform into top producer. The Seth Brothers team currently has 30 members and is growing rapidly. Kunal's goal is to have 5,000 agents associated with the Seth Brothers team by the end of 2025. Kunal is the master at building and managing an effective team. Powered by eXp Realty, Kunal is able to coach and develop realtors in any market in the United States. Author of the best international seller, The First Generation Mindset. Greater Houston Builder Association Realtor of the Year 2018. Greater Houston Builder Association Realtor of the Year 2014. State of Texas RE/MAX Rising Star 2014. RE/MAX Hall of Fame 2015. 3-time Greater Houston Builder Association Real Estate Team of the Year, the Seth Brothers. And that's it. It's all yours, Kunal.
Lata, thanks for the introduction. Can you first see my screen over there?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, perfect. And how much time do I have? Do I have 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 12 minutes? How much time do I have, Lata?
You have 15 minutes.
Perfect. So just call a timeout when my 15 minutes are up. Well, thanks for everyone who took the time to get on this call this afternoon. My objective in the next 10 to 15 minutes is to share with you certain insights about buyers from India, help you decode and win them. And when you decode them effectively, the results would be you'll have more sales with them in the near future. So more about myself. I was born in India. I moved to US in 2001, and I came here to go to grad school. And when I graduated, moved to Houston, 2003, worked for a consulting company, Deloitte. Then I worked for oil and gas company, 2014, left corporate America, and I partnered with my brother-in-law. We just happened to have the same last name, Seth. And when you made the team, we said Seth Brothers sounds much better than Seth brother-in-law. So that's how the team was formed in 2014. We were with Remax for a number of years, and then we transitioned, left Remax, came over to EXP. Over the years, my team does a lot of business in the Houston market. The sales units, of what you see over here, sales volume, over $100 million sales volume every year. But the key thing is 90% of these clients that my team works with are buyers from India. And over the years, when I first came to US from India, I wasn't aware of the American culture. It was alien to me. But over the years, I had to understand and learn what the American culture was all about. But at the same time, I had to keep certain cultural values that were close to my heart from India, which are relevant to me. They'll be relevant to my kids and my grandkids. That's why, as a real estate agent, when you work with buyers from India, certain aspects of those buyers is extremely relevant that you must know about that help you decode them and win them. So firstly, here's the good news. I've done this training thousands of times. I travel nationwide. I'm a national trainer. I train realtors, builders, salespeople, and different associations how to work with Indian buyers more effectively. Just a few weeks back, I was in Denver. Next month, I'm going to Chicago. I travel all over the country. And my training is for about 3 hours. But in the 15 minutes or less today, I'll share with you certain key insights about Indian buyers that you can apply in your business right away, okay? So why are we focusing on clients from India? Why was I given this opportunity? The key stat I want to share with you is the median household income of different ethnic background people living in America. So if you see on the chart, an Indian household typically has about $120,000 worth of household income, whereas other ethnic backgrounds, for example, bottom of a chart, you have about $65,000 to $66,000 with a typical American household. So Indian households do have a lot of income. Number two, 1/6 of the population in this world is Indian. 17% people in this world are of Indian origin. So the Indians are everywhere. When they move to US, where they're moving to, California, New Jersey, and Texas are the top 3 states where they move to. Now, when they come to America, they're very well educated. Most of them have a bachelor's degree, and over half of them have a graduate degree. H-1B visa, this is the work permit authorization that's given by US to people of other country of origin. And India actually receives the most number of work permits. So in my case, I came to US on a student visa, then I got my work permit, then green card, and then citizenship. So I've gone through their journey. When you work with these buyers in America, if they are first generation Americans, if they just come to America, more than likely they're on work permit. There are certain restrictions and guidelines that come alongside with having H-1B visa. So knowing the visa status is important. I'm going to share with you some key insights about India, some key facts, location of India, ethnic makeup, face of India, religious makeup. So some key facts. It's the 7th largest country in the world. And just last year, we beat China. Nothing to be proud about, but we have 1.4 billion people, the most populous country in the world. So whether it's today, tomorrow, next week, next month, or next 10 years, you are going to work with a buyer who's of Indian origin. That's going to happen, period. So it's in your best interest to learn more about them, engage with them effectively, and potentially get some success. So in this slide I'm showing you, India primarily has 3 races: Indo-Aryan race, Dravidian race, and Tibeto-Burman race. And the color coding kind of shows you where these different races live. If I show you some pictures of people from India, for example, these girls, they're of Indian origin, but they're of the Tibeto-Burman race. This person, bottom left corner, is from India, but is from the region northeast part of India, region called Rajasthan. This person is from north region of India, from Punjab. This person is from southern part of India. So India as a country has a lot of diversity. What unifies India is a national language, which is Hindi, H-I-N-D-I. Everyone who goes to school studies all subjects, history, geography, science, they're all taught in English. And then we are all bilingual. In some cases, we speak multiple languages. Religious makeup of India. India has 80% population are Hindus, but 2%, 3%, or even 4%, 5% of 1.4 billion is a big population. So in India, we have millions of Christians, millions of Muslims, and millions of other people with different religious backgrounds. I'm going to switch gears, talk to you about how home construction in India is different from home construction in US. So the build process, lack of these restrictions, they're built on brick and mortar. Permits and approvals are not enforced. And the most important one, in India, each and every single family home built in India is custom built. There's no production home construction that happens in India, with the exception of building townhomes or condominiums. We have no deed restrictions. I can build a home painted any color I want. I can have my driveway to the left side, right? There are no restrictions. Here's how the home sites look like. We have a perimeter wall. Normally we have a front yard, don't have a backyard. We have terraces. So home construction in India is extremely different. Then every home on the rooftop, we have storage tank for water. Water conservation is big. We get fresh water at a certain time of the day. We conserve water in the water tank and use it all day long. In our homes and bathrooms, we have local water heaters. So, running 24/7 hot water is not common in India. When you use the bathroom, when you use the kitchen, you turn on the water heater and you use it that way. Home infrastructure. This is a streetscape of a typical street in India. Do you see any sidewalks? You don't. What do you see on the sidewalks? Cars. All the homes have balconies in the front. Do you see any separation between the homes? There's no separations. There's no easement. There's nothing of that sort. Every home is custom built without any restriction. People do and build any way they want. Then, in US, every home has central air. In India, you have split units or window units. So central air is not as common. And that does impact how they live their life. This is a key one. When you talk to Indians, we're perceived to talk in circles. Our communication style is based on the delicacy of the relationship. When I'm communicating with my peer, I'm going to be direct. I'm communicating with a manager, supervisor, I'm going to be indirect. When I'm talking to my subordinate, I'm going to be blunt or rude. So in our culture, being direct is considered rude. So for example, if you're a real estate agent and you're showing a home to an Indian client, and the list price is $500,000, and the Indian client says, well, I want to offer $350,000. You know for a fact that that offer is not going to get accepted. If you were to say, listen, Mr. Buyer, 350 is too low, it's not going to get accepted. They're going to think you're rude. You're not even trying. The better approach is, I understand you want to offer $350,000. Here's a comp analysis. I believe this offer is low, but I will do my best. I will try to get our offer accepted. Saying that you're going to try and help them or attempt to get them to the finish line is what they want to hear. So in an example, if I am Indian and I have a boss and the boss invites me for a wedding and I must decline the invite. When I want to be indirect and I'm Indian, I will say, thank you so much for the invitation. I will do my best to make sure I'm there. I'm declining, but I'm being indirect. When I want to be direct in the Indian communication style, I'll say, but I will try to come. And when I want to be rude, guess what I will say? I'm sorry, but I won't be able to come. So in the Indian culture, being direct or saying no is considered rude. I know I only have 5 more minutes left, so I'll go through a few more key points over here. The most important thing to win Indian clients is what you see on the screen over here is a circle. Let me pop something in there. If you guys watch this movie, Meet the Fockers, what's that called? The circle of trust. And you know where you guys sit? outside, way outside the circle of trust. So your objective when you work with these Indian clients is to win their trust and get in the circle of trust. And the way you do that is by knowing about their culture, knowing about their values, and communicating with them more effectively. Indians who are Hindus believe in a science called Vastu. Vastu is science that determines what direction the home should face, where the kitchen should be. It's extremely complex. I'm giving you a 30-second spiel about that. North or east is considered as auspicious. South is considered inauspicious. If they're picking a lot and they're going to build a home, they prefer rectangle-shaped lots. If the lot is irregular-shaped lot, they prefer a lot which is cul-de-sac-shaped lot, which is narrow in the front, wide at the back. That mimics a cow's mouth. If I flip that, that becomes a lion's mouth, wide in the front, narrow at the back. That's considered inauspicious. So not all Indians believe in Vastu, but Indians who are Hindus from certain regions believe in Vastu compliance more than the other ones. Buying habits, they're budget-oriented, value-conscious, informed buyers. I would suggest you don't ask an Indian client what they're pre-approved for. Ask the Indian client what their budget is. If an Indian client is pre-approved for $1 million, do you think that they're going to spend $1 million? No, they'll set the budget at $650, $750, maybe $800,000. If you ask an American, born, raised in America, if they're pre-approved for $1 million, guess what they're doing? Spending $1 million. So to an Indian, it's not about what they're pre-approved for, but what their budget is set up for. They're also extremely value conscious. They want to make sure the homes they buy, price per square feet, good school zoning, amenities are really important to them. Also, Indians are not impulsive buyers. No matter how fantastic an opportunity present to them, they are not going to buy the first home you show them. They may like and love the first home, but they may want you to show them 50 more homes and come back to the first one because they're not impulsive buyers. They will do all the research possible before they make a commitment to buying a home. They love to negotiate. Everything in India is negotiable. If I was to poll you guys right now, and I've asked you if you ever bought a car from a car dealership, and if you ever pay sticker price, you would all say nobody in America pays sticker price. Same thing in India. We don't pay sticker price for anything, including cafes, grocery stores. Everything is negotiable. For an Indian to be able to negotiate and feel that they got a deal is the most important thing. They may buy a home for $1 million, and if they negotiate $500 for landscaping, that make them feel good. But if they get nothing on that deal, they will not feel good about it. I'm on my last slide because I only have 60 seconds or 120 seconds left based on what Lata assigned me. This is my last slide, which is the key takeaways. What do you need to do to win Indian clients? You need to be in the circle of trust. Religious beliefs are talk about Vastu compliance. Cultural values, they're risk-averse, one-upsmanship, group decision-making. Buying habits, they're budget-oriented, love to negotiate, very informed buyers. I'm 60 seconds into my end of the slides. This is my last slide over here. As I mentioned beginning of the call, I did write a book about 3-4 months back. It's on Amazon. It's called The First Generation Mindset, which is basically being the first one in your family to do something. It's always challenging. As we go down generations, it becomes easier and easier. In the book, I talk all about that, my journey, what I've done, what my goals in life are. What I'll tell you is this. If you are a real estate agent in the US market, you are going to work with Indian buyers. It's in your best interest to learn more about them, to educate yourself about the cultural values, because the more you know about them, the better you can engage with them, you can decode them and win them. Lata, I believe that's my time, 15 minutes. Any questions I can answer while I'm still on the call?
Thank you so much, Kunal. Lot of information. And of course, thank you, Sefi and Linda, and Kunal, of course, taking out this time out from a busy schedule and share your knowledge with us. It's been incredible 1 hour, lot of information, lot of knowledge that you guys have shared, and we really appreciate you, your good pointers and everything. And thank you, Evan, for being here and giving us giving us information about meeting in Toronto. Della, thank you, the event committee chair, for your support and your guidance. And of course, Alison at FIAPC. We could not have done without you staying in the background and making sure everything goes well. And big thank you to all of you who attended and made this event a success. Thank you. Sorry, we went little over time, but I hope you don't mind.
Thank you.
Alison,
Thank you, Lata.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for invitation.
Take
Thank you,
care.
Lata. That's great.
Looking forward,
you.
everybody in Toronto.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.